You're listening to Kizzi Nkwocha on Weddings KnowHow, my favourite.
Thanks for tuning in to The Wedding Show. I'm Kizzi Nkwocha, and today it's a bit of a dark and grey and dreary day in the UK. But you know what? It doesn't really matter because the sun is shining right here in the studio. And why is the sun shining, you might ask? Well, because of my guest today. Today I'm joined by none other than Marilyn Cairo. Now, Marilyn, oh, I tell you what, if you ever get a chance to see this woman, she is amazing. Got this amazing smile that would make the sun shine even if it didn't want to. Marilyn, can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me at all because it's a really, really faint line. How's your line? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Excellent. Right, now you are the director of a company called Ask Me, which you're based in Miami. I was going to say that your company just provides hospitality solutions, but that kind of masks a lot of things that you do. So just for the sake of our readers who might not know what Ask Me does, tell me about your company. What does Ask Me do?
Well, Ask Me does provide hospitality solutions, and within that, it's a vast variety of services that we can provide to hotels that are based in the Caribbean and Mexico. We have hotels that come to us because they want to have more of an established presence in North America with travel agents. They need someone that's going to represent them at bridal shows, at trade shows. We have accounts that have sourced us to be their private label call center. So when you call the toll-free number that's listed on the hotel's website, you're actually calling our office here. And that gives them a sense of security. We have business hours. You know, they're dealing with North American clients that expect to be taken care of right away. And that's what we're here to do. We also provide on-site operational support for hotels that may just need a little bit of training within their wedding department. We've even helped train spa departments. We've done mystery shoppers. We can do pretty much anything that a hotel needs, and it can be short-term or it can be long-term. It's really whatever fits their budgets and their goals.
Thank you. And tell me about Hillary, because I know there's two of you who run the company together. You look after more the call center side of things, is that right?
That is correct. Hillary is my business partner. We started the company together. And the way we believe in division of labor so that we're obviously trying to grasp as much of what we can do. So I do run the call center, and I also take care of a lot of the marketing perspectives of the company, and Hillary does a lot of more of the sales and the operational support behind the scenes. And it's a really good combination because we respect each other's strengths and weaknesses at the same time, and we work very, very, very well as a team.
Just before we came on air, Marilyn and I were talking about starting up businesses, and I noted the fact that her and Hillary had started the business up back in 2007, just before the economic collapse of 2008. What was that experience like, starting a business in 2007?
You know, it was something that because we didn't know what was coming our way, we weren't in a doom and gloom state of mind, and we just had to make the best of it. We did not have a choice because the other choice was calling it quits and going to find a job. Well, guess what? The job market wasn't looking that great either. So we said, you know what? We can do this. We know we can. We kept giving ourselves, that good old pep talk every Monday morning, and we would last the entire week, come back the next week, and do it again. And little by little, we started making a name for ourselves. The travel industry started noticing that we weren't going away and that we were still around. And much like what you mentioned, Kizzi, they realized we survived the recession. And I think it was just, we had no choice. This is what we wanted to do, and we were going to make it work no matter what we had to do.
And when you started the business back in by the way, you are incredibly professional. I mean, you sound as though you've done 1 million interviews before. This is amazing.
Thank you.
I'm just going to send you. I'm going to send you my notes, and you can just read the questions and do the answers yourself.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No, I've got one more question for you. When you started the business in itself, did you spot a gap in the market, something that nobody else was doing, or did you see that people were doing it, but you could do it differently and better?
No, we did actually spot a gap in the market, and it had to do with where we came from. When Hillary and I joined forces, we had actually worked together at Sandals and Beaches Resorts, and their main success was in the wedding department. And it was because they had a wedding department here in the States that would service North America. So travel agents, brides, grooms, wedding planners, they would call here in the States, get their wedding taken care of, and then the girls in the office would make sure that the information was passed along to the resort in order to execute. Well, they were doing it fabulously. They were doing 12,000 weddings a year. Why couldn't we copy and paste their wedding department feature and sell that option to other hotels who didn't have the same funds to establish a U.S. wedding department. And we did see that opportunity in the market. Then you think of, well, destination weddings was booming. It was up and coming. But the wedding industry in a whole, Kizzi, you know, brides plan their wedding from they're 3 years old. Then you have the mom of the bride who's planning her daughter's wedding from the womb. So weddings are still going to happen whether there's a recession or not. People will get married. They may not spend $100, but they're going to spend $50,000 on their wedding. So as long as we were willing to wait it out, we actually have seen the wedding numbers rise again, but how much spending for the wedding is actually on the rise again too. So it was just a matter of seeing that opportunity and sticking to it.
Do you love weddings?
No, I don't. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't. I have a daughter, and I'm not planning her wedding at all. What I love is, in the end, how much was I able to help that client? How much value did I provide to that client by maybe just giving them some suggestions? You know, do you really need to have real flowers? Can you do maybe more of a vintage look for your centerpiece and save some money instead of having to pay imported flowers, for example, if you're getting married in Mexico? So I think what I strive on the most is what value did I bring to the table for the client.
Yeah, I like the idea of value when it comes to weddings, because I know we were talking about recessions and how people are spending less money. When in 2008, I thought I was going to launch a business in cut price budget weddings, right? Yep. Now this was a great idea at the time, but in looking back in hindsight, it might not have worked. Some of the ideas that I had for cutting back on your wedding expenses were things like, rather than hiring a professional video person, if you get married in a petrol station, they have video cameras. I don't know if you've noticed. But, okay. And honestly, this was a great idea. And also I thought, rather than having to spend lots of money on new clothes, for your wedding, what you can do is take all of your old clothes to a charity shop, right? And the charity shops, they have to, by law, they have to dry clean and press everything. So, you see, they dry clean and press your old clothes, and you can go back and buy them back for about, I don't know, $1.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you surprised this business didn't take off?
Yes, I am. Very surprised.
Oh, well, another great idea. Gone to the wall. Here's number 47.
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about destination weddings. Where is the in place or the in region for people to get married in 2013/14?
Definitely the Caribbean, including the Mexico as well, Caribbean part of Mexico. A lot of clients, a lot of the brides dream of getting married on the beach. And, like you said, I'm in Miami, Florida. I have a beach 20 minutes from my house, but that doesn't mean everyone else does. So a dream destination wedding for me might be something on a mountaintop, overlooking some green pasture. A destination wedding dream for a bride who, has to fly to a beach could just be getting married in the Caribbean. They love the Caribbean waters. They dream of getting married on the beach, and that's the hot spot. And a lot of the hotels that we partner with, that's one of the requirements is you have to have a great beach. I have to be able to give that vision to the client in order to make their dreams come true.
So do you actually go to these places and you just check out the beaches and, the food and the catering, everything else, just to make sure that it's all top notch?
We do. We go and do site inspections, we call them. We come in, what was the check-in process like? Because that's a first impression for a client. If the check-in wasn't smooth, if it wasn't friendly, that vacation is off to a rough start. What was the spa like? Because that bride and her guests are going to be using the spa. What is the romance team like, the wedding department? What are the locations like? How is the service in the restaurant? You don't realize that when you're doing a destination wedding, every single person at that hotel impacts the wedding group because they're all over the place. They're in the spa, in the restaurants, at the water sports, on the beach, at the swim-up pool bar, and one little hiccup, and it just spreads like wildfire in the group. So to us, it's important to have confidence in the hotel that we're recommending to our clients.
Okay, well, here at Weddings KnowHow, we love lists. We love making checklists of things you should and you shouldn't do. And I thought, fantastic, we've got to talk about destination weddings. So I'm going to put you on the spot now, Marilyn.
Okay.
Can you, it sounds like one of these quiz shows, can you tell me what are the most important things to consider when planning a destination wedding? Now, you're the expert. What should we be considering when planning a destination wedding?
I think you should consider the family and friends that you're planning to invite, their budget. Because if your family and friends can't afford it, your destination wedding is not going to happen. You won't have anybody there. So even though it is your day, try and think about, how much is airfare going to cost from where I'm flying to where I'm flying from? What are the hotel accommodations going to cost? Because it is a huge expense for those that are attending the wedding, much more than just buying you a set of cookware. So I think that's the number one thing that I would ask the brides is, I get that you wanted to get married in Bora Bora, but is everyone going to be able to go to Bora Bora and see you walk down the aisle?
Something you just never ever really think about, because when you've got this romantic vision of getting married, you just see the two of you and maybe a crowd of family and friends, but you never actually think, how are they going to get there, do you?
No, you don't. And one of the things we tell the bride is, you don't have to sacrifice your dreams. Get married at a destination where the majority of your group can afford to get to, and then go honeymoon at where you wanted all your life, to see each other walk off into the sunset. Do kind of like a split stay is what we call it. You can do your wedding here and then just jet off for your honeymoon location. And a lot of the clients, they kind of have a reality check after they speak to us and say, yeah, I guess you're right. And, it's been sad, Kizzi, because we've actually had clients cancel weddings on us because they never took into consideration their family and friends' budget. And they've said, you know what, no one can come. So what's the point of getting married when I'm not going to have my closest ones with me? It's just unaffordable.
And often you find that if people can't afford to fly out to the destination, you're almost compelled to offer to pay for the flight or the hotel. And suddenly your budget has gone out of the window, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Those are far and few between. I mean, we have had a few fathers of the bride that have picked up the tab on a couple of the rooms. So we do see that on occasion, but really it's not the majority of our guests. So another thing that we try and tell the brides is, your friends and family are there. What are you going to do to thank them for coming? Because I get it. They're here for your wedding, but at the end of the day, it was a huge expense. So we try and get them to do, like a beach barbecue party the first day that everybody arrives, maybe set up some tours, and pay for the tours on behalf of their guests. So as a thank you for coming out to the destination wedding, have some welcome bags delivered to the rooms to get on a nice Caribbean vacation. So we kind of guide them on things that they can do to show their guests their appreciation as well.
My last question was kind of linked to the first one, because I was wondering, what are the most common problems rather than things you've got to consider, but when you do get there to your destination, what are the most common problems a bride and groom or maybe even their family and friends might come across, and how would a company like Ask Me help solve those problems?
One of the biggest challenges that we have is, and you notice I don't use the word problem. I like to use the word challenge.
I noticed that as soon as you said it, I thought, yeah, that's a really good lesson to be learned, Kizzi. What are the most interesting challenges then?
One of the challenges that we have are delayed flights, and that's completely out of our control. The minute there's a flight delay and if there's a couple of guests that are on the same plane, it just sends the bride and groom off in a tizzy. And as the hotel, we have to then kind of make up for what the airlines lacked. So, for example, they were supposed to be due in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but these guests are coming in at 8 o'clock at night. They're tired. They're upset. So I better have my game face on. I better have a nice cool towel for them when they arrive, a welcome drink. I better have done the check-in already so that they don't have to stand at the front desk and do the check-in. Whisk them away to their room. Why not think ahead and say, you know what, they're probably hungry. Let me make a reservation, a late dinner reservation in the restaurant for them so that at least they don't have to worry about where are we going to eat tonight. So those are things that I think as the hotel, that's where we really have to step up our game and think ahead. How would I like to be treated if I had a flight delay or my luggage was lost? I would like somebody to be there to take care of me, at least until I get my bearings straight.
So I guess a lot of it is putting yourself in the shoes of the bride and groom and just asking yourself, how would I like to be treated?
Exactly. And, you use the term common sense. It's really not that common, but it is. It's about common sense. And since our background is the hospitality industry, you really have to think of what's going to make that client feel comfortable. Because in the end, if the guest had a fabulous day, they're going to be very appreciative of the bride and groom. And then we made the bride and groom look great. Now I'm talking about repeat business, referral business. So it's a win-win for everybody all around.
Sounds like you've got it down to a T. Marilyn, we could talk for hours, and I suspect that we should do, because there's so much I need to talk to you about with these destination wedding things. But I know that people may want to get hold of you after listening to this interview, just find out more about what you do. So if they need to get hold of you, don't give us your home phone number or anything like that, but or your home address or anything like that. But how would people get in contact with you?
Well, they can definitely call our office. Do you want me to go? I can give you the number. It's 305-665-9460. We're in Miami, Florida. My personal extension in the office is 105. And then my email address, which sometimes I do have very odd hours, so email I think is probably the easiest way, is mcairo, that's M as in Mary, C as in cat, AIRO, at AskMeInc.com.
Perfect. Absolutely brilliant. Marilyn, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. You don't think that my idea of the budget wedding is going to take off then, no?
I don't. I think you should give it up and try something else. I burst your bubble. Sorry.
You have, but that's all right. I'm just going to keep on doing this then. Thank you very much.